Now, I usually like to focus on the more extreme side of metal on this channel, as that's most of what I listen to, but I won't lie and say that the true cult, black and clowncore, death slam, war, gore, porno, cybergrind fans would exactly like me, because I'm admittedly a big new metal fan as well. After all, new metal is the genre that got me into metal in the first place, so it has a special place in my heart. So I'm going to talk about my favorite new metal albums. See my other videos like this, it's the same rules. Unordered albums. The last one is my favorite, not mentioning a band more than twice. Anyway, fuck this. Let's get right into it. Starting with a new metal classic, Korn's self-titled album just kind of hits different. I think it's all in the emotional charge of the album, if I'm going to be honest with you. Clown is probably my favorite song on the album, but Daddy is so raw that I can barely even listen to it in its entirety. I can handle Blasphemy or Nunslaughter, but a fucking Korn song is too much for me. It's masterful writing, and this is definitely when Korn peaked. It's just a shame it was so early in their career. Then they went past the 90s. Next is actually another Korn album, that being Life is Peachy. This album's very cheesy, and objectively it's way worse than self-titled, but I love it for that exact reason. Life is Peachy takes a much more satirical approach to music, and it's just hilarious. While Good God is my favorite Korn song, I can't lie and say that isn't funny. It's immature but entertaining at the same time. This isn't everyone's favorite Korn album, but I think it's at the very least fun and worth listening to. Next on my list is Mudvayne's LD50, aka Peak Nu Metal. This album is exactly what every nu metal album should have been. Obviously there was Dig, but pretty much every song on this album is a absolute banger. Every nu metal band was trying to do the same thing, but clearly Mudvayne was the only band that could actually do what everyone wanted to do. Catchy riffs, jumpy bass lines, and angry teenagers screaming into the mic is basically everything nu metal was, and Mudvayne takes that as far as it can possibly go on this album. I cannot stress enough how good this album is. Honestly, I'm glad it's finally getting the recognition it deserves. Slipknot's self-titled has to be mentioned, since, Slipknot, they're the most popular nu metal band, and for good reason. Slipknot is very unique in the way that they have a specific aesthetic that no one else can replicate. They're also much heavier than Korn or Mudvayne or any other band like that. This album's a masterpiece with a menacing feeling throughout the whole album. It's got pretty much everything on it too, from Spit It Out to Eyeless to Eeyore to Scissors, which is my favorite Slipknot song ever, by the way. Every song feels unique and different, but they all still have a theme that they stick to. Overall, it's Slipknot, so obviously it's good. Next is White Pony, and this album fucking slaps. This album and Around the Fur are like nu metal essentials, and for good reason. Deftones isn't just one of my favorite nu metal bands, but also one of my favorite bands in general, much like Slipknot. White Pony is arguably their peak, with them taking a slightly experimental approach while keeping their nu metal roots. And while like every Deftones album, they lost their nu metal at some point. Ohms. I would also talk about Around the Fur, but I feel like it's cheap to talk about so many bands twice in the same video. That album is good too, though. Now it's time for my favorite album. Slipknot's Iowa is commonly accepted as their peak, and I can definitely see why. The album is a lot heavier than anything that came afterwards. It's meaningful and just overall has a flawless aesthetic. Iowa is a dark and disturbing album. Songs like 515, Gently, and Iowa, the title track. I'm trying to talk about title tracks less in these videos, I swear to God, being some of the most disturbing surface level songs I can think of. It's not like Stalag or anything like that, but it is damn uncomfortable. The band was in a dark place at this time, which explains how genuine the album is. Corey's iconic scream is also on this album, even being named after it. It's a shame he lost the Iowa scream, but at least we got to hear it on this album. Overall, this album is just a must listen to for any metalhead, not just nu metal fans. And if you're only going to listen to one of these albums, listen to this one. Overall, nu metal may not be the best genre, but it definitely does have some really good albums. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you didn't, sorry I guess. I don't know what you want from me. Any album recommendations are welcome, or if you want me to cover any specific genres in one of these, let me know.